My dear, I have heard a strange rumor. They say your silence hides storms nobody dares to name. They whisper you vanished the moment I looked away. The world claims you broke, but only because they never saw your fractures. I heard your heart became a secret city, no one has maps anymore. Rumor says your smile is just a mask. Whose pain does it hide? They say you never loved me, yet I still feel your ghost's breath. Everyone thinks you left. I know you hid in the shadows of your own fear. They say you're dangerous, because you learned how to disappear without goodbye. The gossip calls you a liar, but truth is often the quietest scream. Rumor has it you traded love for silence. Did you win or lose? They say your eyes hold storms only angels dare witness. Everyone fears what they don't understand, like the way you vanished into dust. I heard you wear heartbreak like armor. Is it protecting or killing you? Rumor says your absence is the loudest confession I'll never hear. They whisper you betrayed yourself before you could betray me. The story told is you forgot me, maybe you just forgot how to stay. They say your love was a lesson no one was ready to learn. Rumor says you burned bridges to light your way home, what's left in ashes. They say you speak in silence now, but I still hear your screams. Everyone says you moved on. Did you leave your soul behind? I heard your truth is too sharp for this world's dull knives. Rumor says you cracked under weight no one saw but the moon. They say your heart was borrowed, and now the debt is eternal. The whispers claim your shadow is longer than your light. Rumor says your goodbye was the beginning of everyone's end. They say you never really left, only became a ghost I can't hold. I heard your name spoken like a prayer, twisted by regret. They say your tears watered secrets no one will ever know. Rumor says you gave your soul away in pieces, hoping to keep the rest. They whisper your love was a lie so perfect. It still hurts to remember. Everyone says you changed, maybe the world changed you instead. Rumor says your silence is louder than any scream I've ever heard. They say your heartbeats became riddles no one wanted to solve. I heard you hide your scars beneath smiles no one deserves. Rumor says you lost yourself, but maybe you finally found freedom. They whisper you loved like you were already broken beyond repair. The story goes your hands held fire, but your soul froze. Rumor says your name is a curse and a blessing, all at once. They say your promises were shadows, here and gone before dawn. I heard your laughter died in the echo of unspoken goodbyes. Everyone claims you changed for worse, but they never knew your pain. Rumor says your love was a wound you never dared to heal. They say your silence speaks volumes louder than any betrayal. I heard you traded forever for a moment. Was it worth the price? Rumor says you vanished into the night, leaving only questions behind. They whisper your soul is a labyrinth no one dares to enter. Everyone says you broke my heart, maybe I broke yours first. Rumor says your eyes told stories your lips refused to say. They say your goodbye was the cruelest truth I'll never accept. I heard your love was a ghost, beautiful, haunting, impossible to hold. Rumor says your shadow lingers where my light once touched. They whisper your touch was fire, burning everything you couldn't save. Everyone says you left, but maybe you never really belonged here. Rumor says your heart still beats in secret places I'll never find. They say your silence is a scream wrapped in velvet. I heard your pain was poetry no one was brave enough to read. Rumor says you lost your way, but found a path no one understands. They whisper you loved with wounds too deep to ever heal. Everyone says you changed, but maybe I just never saw the real you. Rumor says your soul is a battlefield, silent and endless. They say your eyes hide galaxies of grief no one dares explore. I heard your love was a secret language I never learned to speak. Rumor says your goodbye was the first lie you ever told me. They whisper your heart beats to a rhythm only the lost can hear. Everyone says you disappeared, but maybe you just found yourself at last. Rumor says your silence is a shrine to what we lost. They say your love was a storm no one could weather. I heard your tears baptize the pain no one dared to feel. Rumor says you became a ghost to escape a love too heavy. They whisper your soul is fire and ash, both burning and gone. Everyone says you left me, but maybe I never really had you. Rumor says your smile hides a war no one else can fight. They say your voice is silence's most haunting melody. I heard your love was a secret kept between the stars and night. Rumor says your heart carries wounds only the universe can heal. They whisper your goodbye was a prayer nobody answered. Everyone says you changed, but maybe I was the one who never understood. Rumor says your silence is a love letter never meant to be read. They say your soul chose exile over the pain of staying. If this touched your soul, don't scroll, like, comment your favorite quote, and subscribe for more. They whisper your absence taught me the weight of invisible wounds. Rumor says your love was a broken mirror reflecting endless regret. They say your silence swallowed every word I never said. I heard your heart is a battlefield where hope quietly died. Everyone claims you changed, but your soul was always a wildfire. Rumor says your tears fell where no one else could reach. They whisper you loved with hands too afraid to hold. The story goes your promises were fragile glass, shattered beyond repair. I heard your voice turn to ash in the wind of goodbye. They say your smile hides scars written in a language I lost. Rumor says your pain was a secret prayer unanswered by time. They whisper your shadow lingers in the silence between our words. Everyone says you left, but maybe your heart stayed, quietly breaking. Rumor says your soul is a storm no calm can contain. They say your love was a ghost haunting memories too vivid to forget. I heard your silence screamed louder than any words ever could. They whisper your touch was a fire I was never meant to survive. Rumor says your heartbreak is a song only the lonely remember. They say your eyes tell stories even angels fear to hear. Everyone says you changed, but maybe you were just finally free. Rumor says your goodbye was a wound that never truly healed. They whisper your love was a riddle I never had the courage to solve. I heard your pain was the invisible weight I carried in my chest. They say your soul danced between light and shadow, never settling. Rumor says your silence is the last confession you will ever make. Everyone claims you vanished, but maybe you simply returned to yourself. They whisper your heart beats in echoes only the lost can hear. I heard your love was a secret language no one else spoke. Rumor says your eyes hid a universe too vast to understand. They say your goodbye was the first lie you ever told yourself. Everyone says you left me, but maybe I never truly held you. Rumor says your soul is a battlefield of broken promises and dreams. They whisper your silence is a poem written in invisible ink. I heard your touch burned like fire but cooled too soon. They say your smile was a fragile mask for endless sorrow. Rumor says your heart shattered to save what little love remained. Everyone claims you changed, but maybe I was blind to your truth. They whisper your pain is a secret only the stars can hold. I heard your love was a ghost that never quite left my side. Rumor says your silence screamed what your lips could never say. They say your soul chose exile over the ache of goodbye. Everyone says you vanished, but maybe you just found peace in the dark. Rumor says your heart still beats in places no light reaches. They whisper your love was a storm that no calm could tame. I heard your tears baptized wounds that time refused to heal. They say your goodbye was a prayer lost in the void of silence. Rumor says your silence is a love letter never meant to be read. Everyone claims you left, but maybe your soul never truly left me. They whisper your eyes hold galaxies of grief no one dares explore. I heard your heart beats to a rhythm only the broken understand. Rumor says your love was a secret kept between stars and shadows. They say your smile hides battles no one ever fought beside you. Everyone says you changed, but maybe you were just breaking free. They whisper your silence is the loudest cry in the universe. I heard your touch was fire that burned what love could not save. Rumor says your pain was a sacred flame no one dared approach. They say your soul dances in shadows only the lost know. Everyone claims you vanished, but maybe you found home inside yourself. They whisper your goodbye was a wound that still bleeds quietly. I heard your love was a ghost haunting my every waking moment. Rumor says your eyes hold stories angels are too afraid to tell. They say your silence speaks volumes I'm too broken to hear. Everyone says you left me, but maybe I never had you at all. They whisper your heart beats in rhythms only loneliness understands. I heard your pain was poetry written in tears no one saw. Rumor says your love was a secret song the universe forgot. They say your goodbye was the first lie you ever believed. Everyone claims you changed, but maybe I just never saw clearly. They whisper your silence is a shrine to everything lost between us. I heard your soul chose exile to escape the weight of love. Rumor says your love was a wildfire burning without mercy or remorse. They say your eyes hide galaxies of grief the world won't touch.